Hey YouTube, this video is going to be a little different. It's not another DIY video. I'm upgrading my clutch because it's starting to slip. It's a stock clutch. It is pretty new. It's only 9,000 miles. I got it when I got the car 2 years ago. But with the upgraded Stage 2 tune, it is starting to slip now, and so I am upgrading it. Excuse me, to the Sachs 764 pressure plate, also known as, I guess, the Sachs 2.5 clutch kit. And so anyway, I did consider doing it myself, but I don't think the quick jack is gonna cut it. I did try it with a SUV adapter and rubber blocks to try to get as high as possible, but ultimately I'm gonna take it to a shop, going to Salerno Motorsports tomorrow. I have been shopping around for a few weeks now, trying to find a shop that's willing to do it with my parts that I supply, and also that's willing to do it without having to drop the engine, which makes a big difference in the labor. So the shop that wants to install it with the dropping the engine, the estimate I'm getting is about 2,000 plus, or the book rate is about 15 hours or so, versus if the shop can do it without dropping the engine, it's about 10 hours, so saving about 5 hours labor at $120–140 an hour. So it's basically $1,500 versus $2,000 for the labor. And shopping around for the parts can also save you quite a bit of money, so that's why I prefer to do it that way if I can, especially on items like the dual mass flywheel. I was able to find that for a lot less at RockAuto for only $450, versus most other places is double that. And if you get the Porsche brand, it's triple that. So I got all the parts ready to go tomorrow morning. So as you can see, I got the flywheel. The OEM brand is LuK, and then I got the two Sachs, the upgraded pressure plate, the 764, and also the while you're in there, you must replace the clutch disc. So I got the 098 clutch disc. Those are unsprung, and then I decided to go ahead and replace the accumulator. That runs about 100, and then I got the flex disc that goes on the shaft to the front transfer case, and that's pretty much it. And miscellaneous bolts that you should replace while you're doing it. Okay, so I might as well mention the power mods that I've done, in case you're wondering what's causing it to start the clutch to slip. So like I mentioned, the Cobb Stage 2 tune, which is off the shelf, and with that I have the upgraded exhaust by Europipe Stage 2, and I have the upgraded intercooler. These are the 997.2 GT2 RS intercoolers, and that's pretty much it for power mods. I do have other mods. It's now Friday. I dropped off the car on Monday, made an appointment at the shop, and they finished on Wednesday, so I picked it up Thursday. Anyway, just wanted to update you on the what I think of the clutch. So far I am loving it. It's very stock-like, and it is a little bit grabby, but it's easy enough to get used to. The clutch disc that I'm using, it's unsprung, so it's kind of expected. The pedal pressure is it's about the same. I didn't really notice much difference, and so far pretty happy with it. The shop took some pictures which I'll show you in this video, and so overall I happy with the decision. So just a few things I want to go over on my decision process and so on. There was a couple options I could have went with. One is going with a light wheel flywheel instead of the dual mass, but the deal breaker for me was the noise that you could have when the clutch is not engaged on idle, and from what I read, especially when the AC air conditioner is on, you get this little chattering noise, or what sounds like a diesel. So I'm thinking that's probably going to bother me, and from what I've read, that's again deal breaker for me. So I thought about doing it as a DIY, and but so I looked at seeing how high I can raise the car so I can drop the transmission and clear it. And I have a quick jack, and I tried it with a SUV extension adapter and a rubber block. I can almost get it high enough to clear the transmission, but I'm thinking it's still, just barely enough room, and still be a pain in the rear trying to do it on your back. And I did see a couple people on the forum were able to do it using similar setup, but they and actually they dropped the motor, and which kind of encouraged me that if they could drop the motor, then I should be able to just drop the transmission. But even still, working with such limited clearance, and it was just I wasn't comfortable on doing that, and so I was able to do it for less by getting the parts myself, and then finding a shop that's gonna do the job without having to drop the motor. So the parts I think ran me around $1,600, including the flywheel, and then the labor was about $1,500, about 10 hours of labor. So when I was getting quotes for labor alone of $2,000, I considered just maybe putting that money towards a lift. I was gonna, for that same amount of money, I can buy a max jack lift, which will give me about 45-inch clearance. I have my ceiling in the garage here. It's 9 foot. There is a beam that you see there, so it's about 8 foot. Actually, a lot of the old parts are actually still good, but I went ahead and replaced them for various reasons. Like the rubber part, I wasn't sure what the condition was, and since they're while you're in there, I figure I might as well replace it. And then the accumulator are known to fail after a while, and so went ahead and replaced that. And but the key part of the upgrade is the pressure plate. The pressure plate, the 764 has a higher clamping force, so that's the key part of the upgrade. And the everything else is not a big change. And the looked at the old clutch disc. It's still measure the thickness. It's almost like new. Kind of expected with only 9,000 miles. And the flywheel, I could have probably reused, but again, I got a good price on it for only $450, and it is a dual mass, so there's springs in there, and that car has 67,000 miles, so I figure I replace that as well while you're in there. And from what I've read, the dual mass flywheel, because it's dual mass, you can't resurface it. I did buy a new RMS seal, the rear main seal for the crankshaft. The shop, I gave the shop discretion whether to replace it or not. So they decided that the old one is still like new, and didn't want to, so it wasn't necessary. Plus, I let them make that call because I was nervous that if it's not installed correctly, it could leak. From what I've read on forums, and a friend Jay that did his, and it's has a slow leak. So since the old one still again it's not that old and it's not leaking, basically if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. So here are the custom and 3D printed tools. The clutch centering tool. This actually worked better than the metal one I ordered because it's the right size. Ordered one from eBay, a metal one, which is better than these plastic, but it's the wrong size, so ended up using. I think even the shop used this one, and then I printed one for a friend Jay, and he seems to report that it worked. This is the RMS tool. So Jay created this metal adapter so you can bolt it in instead of tap it in. And so the way this works is this goes on to the engine part, and a couple bolts there, and you can see this long bolt threads in here, so it pulls, so you can tighten it here, and it pulls it in instead of tapping it in. These bolt holes you see here is for a different car, so these don't fit or match the turbo. So I found, I forget who created this design, but actually his initials here, right there, and so I just used that and resized it for the right outer diameter, and this theoretically should work, but again, when Jay did it, when tapping it in, it seems to be leaking. Maybe it wasn't tapped in enough, or I'm not sure. That was before he had the right bolts to use the screw-in method. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps motivate me to create this video.